on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice. When your morning starts,
all right, good morning to you. Welcome to VOP this morning. It's a beautiful Tuesday. Tuesday the 12th day in the month of March, and we welcome you to a fresh edition of VOP this morning. I'm Moses Humphrey.
I'm Fina Okechukwu. Good morning to you.
And I'm David Edwin, saying a very good morning to you wherever you're seeing us, viewing us this morning. It's a beautiful day, and we trust that you will do well to be with us this morning, and let's enjoy the ride together.
All right, now let's let you into what we'll be talking about this morning. We'll be talking about bandits.
Interestingly, bandits
Yes.
demand 40 trillion naira ransom. Now that, for me, is something worth talking about. That's like
anyway.
That's
when
like
I
talking
saw
about
that
the
news,
budget of the entire nation.
honestly,
in 2 years.
I don't think we've actually had this in a year.
In 2 years.
Better in 2 years.
okay, we'll talk about this one when we get to that bridge. We'll be crossing it with you, of course.
Really?
But we'll also on the second segment we have
Senator
another topic.
Akpabio urged committee to go after those involved in the 3 trillion naira ways and means payment.
All right, so these are the topics for conversation this morning. We would like for you to stay with us as we get into this conversation. But in the meantime, we'll be looking at the papers, looking at stories that made it to the cover pages of the papers. And I will be starting with the Daily Trust, where we do have the Daily Trust. We have the Punch newspaper. We also have Vanguard and the Guardian newspaper. Let's not forget the Daily Independent. I would love to start with the Daily Independent. That would be, yes. I beg your pardon. Okay. Yes, the Daily Independent. Starting off with the Daily Independent, the banner headline here reads, Alleged 2024 budget padding. Ningi defends self, insists 3 trillion naira not tied to any project. Senator wants Ningi charged to court for misinformation. Northern senators distance self from padding allegation. All right. And we also do have consumers worried Ramadan fast may worsen rising food prices. All right. Now, this we know happens most times when there is a fast. The price of fruit goes up.
Yeah.
It goes up. Now, with the current situation in the country, I share the same worry with some of the consumers that the price of food items may go up as a result of the Ramadan fast. But and this is largely because those that move these things around are usually fruits, for example, are usually from the north. So they might pay less attention to some of these things being moved from one state to another because of the Ramadan fast.
And not just that, some of them also break their fast using the fruits, but making it to be in high demand. So I guess is that
yes.
also
That's
the
another
law.
reason. Oh well, some states have started a system whereby there will be a collective pause where from which people can be fed. That in itself would be a way to cushion the pressure, cushion the effects of the economy on Muslim faithful. Oh well. Senate inaugurates committee to probe Buhari's 30 trillion naira ways and means. Charges it to be thorough, leave no stone unturned. All right. And we also have Tinubu employs state governors to implement wage award. Hints on reviving cattle grazing reserves in states. Nigeria, other overseas care workers can no longer bring dependents to UK. this has been a long time coming. You, you know,
It is.
Well, it's for a lot of Nigerians. Nigerians saw the migration to the UK as a way of liberating themselves and their family members from the hardship being experienced back home in Nigeria. So it wasn't just about going to study. It wasn't just about going there to work. It was about moving your entire family, husband, wife. If the wife is the caregiver, the husband is the dependent, you know, and then the children are also dependents. Everybody just moves
Move together.
I know people who have resigned from oil companies to relocate to the UK, you know, to do caregiving jobs.
Oh, wow.
And you would wonder. I know someone, to be very specific, I know someone who sold his house. I'm not going to say where, but you know, sold his house in a highbrow area in Lagos
Wow.
to relocate the entire family to the abroad.
You know what
And what happened if
really,
things go
what
south?
really, you know, comes as a major question is it actually worth it?
Is it worth it?
Yeah.
We'll call them to ask them. But no, my
For
own is,
those-
what happened if things go south? Like, you know, selling your house to move to another place, and you're not sure of how, you know,
Is there the
the whole
possibility
thing
of it going
actually
south?
play. Yeah,
I think
sometimes it
the thing
does.
is,
What happens if there's a case of
for a
deportation
lot of Nigerians,
and all that?
for a lot of Nigerians, there was no coming back.
Oh,
Yeah.
For a lot of them, they were done.
with
They
Nigeria.
were done with the way things were going. And if you remember, just towards the 2023 elections,
Yeah.
before the elections, a lot of people
Did move.
made plans to leave, and a lot actually did leave
Indeed, yeah.
True.
because of the fears of what would become of
The nation
Nigeria
afterwards.
after elections.
Election.
And some still call to say, you still there? How they do you? You know?
Oh God, I get some
But
of those.
the
kind
truth of the
calls.
matter is, we should, well, we can't say this enough, but we should still have faith that collectively we can make this country work.
Yeah.
You know, okay, David is thinking like, really? Can
Actually,
that
should be
work?
what we should be thinking. Because now, no
Well,
place
like,
like home to start with. And you find out that most people that actually move
I
abroad,
agree with you on
migrate
that
abroad,
one.
actually, they don't
agree with you
really
on that
fit
one.
in to start with.
True.
You know, some of them actually will get there and they'll be like, this is not actually I expected, if not for, in quote, they'll say, if not for the value of
The
some-
currency.
yes, they shouldn't actually be there. So working collectively to make sure that, you know, push the country forward and, you know, make it look like where people are running to. I think that actually should be our goal and our champion this time around.
I think the most significant part of that movement is practically what we just talked about, and that's the valuing of the currency.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't want to imagine what 12 pounds per hour is going to interpret to in today's
When you
naira.
can convert it.
So,
If the naira can be strengthened against the dollar, you know, and maybe against the pound sterling as well,
yeah,
I do believe a lot of Nigerians want to come back home.
Yeah.
very
No,
true.
they will.
Because
Very
there's
true.
no place like
very, very true.
Oh well, some more headlines from the Daily Independent. We now on top of the nameplate. Okay, I've taken that one on top of the nameplate. Now we have this one. Bayelsa Guba, Appeal Court, President shuns Silva. APC refuses to disband tribunal. UBA, AGF creates synergy to back SMEs across Africa. ICAO commences security audits of Lagos, Abuja airports. SANU to FG, salvage economy before it becomes irredeemable. Accuses it of favoritism in payment of withheld 4 months' salary. SANU, NASU threatening to declare 7-day warning strike. Lastly, the bottom strip there, we have Ogunshot Steel Company over gas explosion. All right. Now talking about SANU and NASU going on strike. They have pegged the 18th of March as when they will embark on strike if the withheld salaries are not paid. Now, what impacts, thinking about it, this would impact negatively, of course, on the educational system.
True.
Coupled with what a lot of Nigerians are going through right now. Parents are finding it hard to pay tuition. Students are mostly having to, pay their tuition themselves. A lot of them are having to pay their tuition themselves. Another strike, if that in turn affects the calendar, academic calendar, which it might, because they are threatening that there will be no light in campuses. They will throw the entire, institutions into darkness. There will be no water, which might make living unbearable for students, which might also make conducting lectures unbearable for lecturers.
And in turn, the parents are receiving back their
students might have to go back home. If life becomes unbearable, imagine being in a place where there's no water.
But looking at it already this way, if you get to some federal universities, I'm sorry to say, you find out that even as it is now, we have to. Because I can remember while I was in school then, a lecturer walked into the class to say, I'm sorry about what the people are passing through now. During their own days, the hostel were made for one person or two people in one room. But I won't call the name of the uni, but you find out if you get to this particular school, you find out that I have like 8 persons or more than that sharing the same cubicle. A bunk meant for just 2 people. You understand? They don't even have enough water supply, leaving the students now to be outside the campus. Now you're paying not just your tuition, the house rent is there, and every other thing. As a student, you're not living like someone who is already working.
One thing that strikes me about Nigerians is that we are very dogged, very dogged. We are like I really don't know how to peg it, but we can survive almost every kind of situation.
Suffering and smiling.
That's not a very good thing.
No, it's not.
A very good thing to say.
It's not at
because what we go through as a nation, I dare say 1/8 of it cannot be endured by some other nations.
Exactly.
And it's quite interesting. This strike
That's
action.
why when you come out of Nigeria, you survive anywhere else. Anywhere else you go to, you survive. Because the hardship here trains you to survive anywhere.
Very strong body trains.
Get to prepare to face the
All right,
world
before we go
ahead.
into another paper, let's just look at this pictorial here. The major pictorial there in the Daily Independent. It has the president sitting on a cart. Well, this one reads Babajide Sanwo-Olu, Governor of Lagos State, Abubakar Kyari, Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in the middle, Mohamed Bago, Governor of Niger State, and Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi, Minister of State Agriculture and Food Security, during the flag off of a Greek mechanization revolution for food security in Niger State. This was on Monday. All right, it's good to have to invest in mechanized farming.
Yeah.
It's really good. That's one of the things that we've been clamoring for. But then again, the farmers should be secure enough to go to the farm.
I was
Yeah, we
going
have
there.
to.
I mean, if security is not at the brain of all of this, then you might be having another kind of maybe, let's not even call it a disaster waiting to happen, because another factor that is also should be considered is the headers farmers clashes. I really think that well, hopefully the government should be looking at this as well.
Well, the government already said they're looking at grazing, revisiting the grazing issue. Let's just keep our fingers crossed and see what happens.
And someone wants to ask, what is Babajide Sanwo-Olu doing in Niger State? He actually went there to know if there will be a possible measure. They actually are talking about how they can, push the economy forward by Lagos sponsoring some of the, let's say planting or cultivation of grains
Rice,
in
rice
Yeah.
farming.
in Niger State, where they will actually still send
About
down to them.
300,000. There's a collaboration
Yeah.
to produce about 300,000 rice paddies, which will involve the two states.
Yes,
which
exactly.
of course is a good thing. All right, let's go into another paper now.
All right, let's just go straight into the Guardian newspaper, where the banner headline here reads, investors may forfeit dividends as firms struggle to survive. You also find here another headline by the side of the major pictorial there. And of course, the major pictorial there clearly is stating how companies exit Whirlpool over 5 trillion naira from stock market shareholders warns as well. Shareholders on verge of losing investment in multinationals. You see that pictorial there where you have someone having his hands on his head. Just by the side of that pictorial, another headline there reads, bandit storms play 2 markets, kill 7, abduct Chinese in Kwara. Oh boy. Tinubu promises to fix farmers' headers crisis in 3 weeks. Interesting one. Senators in for
In 3 weeks, you say.
Yeah, it's true.
in 3 weeks.
All right. If that is done, that would be fantastic. That would be fantastic. 3 weeks.
And people
Fix farmers' headers crisis. All right. This feels like calling everybody to a round table and say, okay, so what's the problem?
Yeah.
Let's find a common ground. All right. This is 3 weeks is just around the corner.
And
We do hope we'll keep our eyes on this one. And if this is fixed, really, if there is some sort of understanding, that will go a long way in reducing the cost of dairy
Yeah.
products, the cost of meat, and also farm things to
Produce
be
and all.
made available.
Yeah.
Which is good. Good.
And come to think of it, maybe one would want to ask, so what are the modalities being set aside for this kind of statement? Is this not going to be another kind of political statement that Nigerians want to hear?
But we have 8 years ago where the former administration actually paying down the anti-open grazing law and saying that people actually need to abide by
Some
this and that.
states-
But some states actually say no to that. But I believe now with the present administration coming to power, I think there will be tougher ways to make sure that they follow the dues of that particular anti-grazing law.
Oh, wow.
Because in Benue State, the governor of Benue State came out to say that he had to use the military actually to carry out his own orders for people who want to wake up and say they want to flout it. Yeah.
Well, it's not campaign season, so I do hope the president is very certain of what he's saying. So let's just hope that something tangible can be done in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, very true. He is the man at the helm of affairs. So 3 weeks, we're going to put our eyes on this. So, okay, more headlines here. Senators in for feisty session over Ningi's 3 trillion budget padding claim. Open borders to address food crisis, Kano governor tells Tinubu. Now, I find this quite interesting, opening the borders. I really don't know how we see security, but I think that's another problem that we're having, where people across our borders will just walk into the country, and you're not having data of whoever is coming in and whoever is going out.
I think border control as it concerns migration is one thing. Border control as it concerns food, availability of food is another thing. People are moving around anyway. People are moving around. Whether the border is officially closed or open, people move around. We've had people sneak in. We've had, people that are not Nigerians having the national identity card of Nigeria. But the fact that the borders are closed officially to some borders closed officially to the importation of food is, and also exportation of food is not good for the economy. I believe this is long overdue. Should be open in such a way that if it's open, then you can regulate it.
Exactly.
You can say, okay, yes, this is what we are getting from what is coming in, and we are sure that these things are, of standard.
But wouldn't that be another problem, particularly to the produce that Nigerians are
already
trying to get into?
You do recall that last week about 21 trucks were apprehended for wanting to move food produce away from Nigeria to Chad to be sold. So these things are happening. These things are happening whether we like it or not.
Very true.
But if the borders are now officially open, then we can say, okay, what are the things we are exporting?
Okay.
Pay your duties and then export. Don't export beyond a certain level so that people can have food within Nigeria. All right? Then what are the things that we are importing? Let's know that we are importing things that Nigerians need, and these are not contraband. All right? I think it's long overdue, though. That's my take on that one.
Well, I also share that sentiment as well. But basically, for me, it should also be carefully looked into in terms of security and all of that, right?
I guess the government need to push more of the people who are supposed to be at the border levels to make sure that they checkmate, especially all those little pockets that we have, because most of the time that the smuggling that happen in Nigeria don't happen through the major borders. It happened through other porous, borders that we have, the pockets of them, and those are the ones that we are not really looking at here. So if they say we're closing the major borders, there will be restriction on those ones. What happened to the pockets? Because you know that we share borders with so many states, so many little states, or so many states in Nigeria share borders to other countries, and let's say the immigration are not really. Maybe some of them don't even know that those pockets exist. Let me put it that way. Yeah, because every day you wake up, you find out that this thing happened. There was a day someone told me something about, do you know you can get to Cameroon from a particular state? And they were like, how do you intend to do it? They said, just watch. When you get to a spot, you have to get a boat, the ferry across.
Crossing, right?
Yeah, and I said, how do you intend doing it? They say, okay, nobody actually is going to know. But the thing there is, they say you can do it and come in and go out without being properly checked on what you go to do and how you come back again.
Everybody, you can actually get to. Where's this place now? It just skipped my memory. From Marina here. You can get to, goodness gracious! There's a neighbor. It just skipped my memory now. But you can get to a neighboring country from Marina.
No.
In Lagos Island.
Oh, I guess you just see already for the first
people
time.
come in, do business in Lagos Island, and go back. It's
Well, we need to really look into that. All right, let's just continue here. Beneath that particular open border headline, revoke licenses of non-performing discos. Federal government orders NEC. Okay, another one here reads, Nigeria raises concerns about terrorism financing in West Africa. Nigeria raises concerns about terrorism financing in West Africa. Now, just beneath that, you find man nabbed for allegedly killing daughter for money ritual. This is quite disturbing, really. The question I want to possibly ask such a man is, the person that wants to do the ritual for you,
how much does he or she
how
have?
much does the person have? If the person is not close to the Dangotes and their Tedolas, then
No, but since the person know how to make
okay.
money during rituals, the person shouldn't actually be, you can't measure the person's wealth to that of Dangote and others. The person should be aiming to be like Elon Musk, in fact, the world richest person. But anyway, they will actually make you understand how people are beginning to reason this particular period where things are a bit difficult, and I'm talking about the economic hardship of facing, and someone will wake up and say, I want to kill my child to make money. For who to enjoy? No, let's ask that question. Who are you making this money for, if not for your children and your family? And are you using one of your child or children to make the money?
Is there a difference? Is there a difference between this and a man who would want to sell one or two of his of his kids so that he can train the rest. We know these things happen.
Talking about that,
You just,
This thing
I was
happen.
actually thinking you were going to say maybe he sells one of his kidneys.
You know,
No.
but
this
you know,
is happening.
you know far from the truth, because sometime in Kano State, one man went to Singa, is a market where they sell rice, and then the man dropped his. He came with a boy, a teenage boy, and then he asked the boy to please sit with the man selling the rice, where he will go and make transfer. Now, unknown to this particular man, the person selling this rice, he did not know that what the man did was take my son
As a collateral.
as a collateral while I go home and eat a bag of rice. One bag of rice to a son. And after closing for the day, they couldn't find this man to say, okay, this is the payment
son was
and
still
all that.
there.
And the son was still there. God being so kind, the son was able to say, I know where my father's house is. And when they got to the man's house, they saw the man, they've already boiled the rice with his other children, eating with oil and salt. Wow. And the man started crying. He can't watch other children die for hunger or starvation. So that was the reason he had to take that particular path. But anyway, I wouldn't want to, that's why I have to say this. For husband and wives, please, if you want to give birth to children, give birth to the ones you can manage to take care of. You know,
Oh,
you
yes.
shouldn't bring us out to
Oh,
come and
yes.
suffer and all that. You
yes.
have to.
That's quite a story. I mean,
yes.
No, it happens, you know.
All right, and do we have time for one more paper before we wrap up the newspaper review?
Yeah, a quick one. The Punch newspaper. The banner headline says 28 trillion naira budget brouhaha. Parties demand 3.7 trillion naira pardon probe. Northern senators disown Ningi. At the rider, Ningi insists on 3.7 trillion allegation. Senators, APC, PDP seek sanction and investigation. Above the nameplate, FG laments blackout despite 65% subsidy, warns a disco. You can get that on page 19 of the Punch newspaper. Prayer for Nigeria to overcome challenges, government tells Muslims. Oh, I'll take that again, I beg your pardon. It says pray, not prayer. Pray for Nigeria to overcome challenges, the government tells Muslims. Okay, terrorism. UN begins Lagos Abuja Airport security audit. That is on page 21 of the Punch newspaper. Okay, we have a pictorial. The major pictorial is about the governor of Lagos State and the president and some other, even the governor of Niger State and a minister too. And beneath that nameplate, Tinubu condemns farmers' heather clashes, unveils a Niger agri airport projects. On paid salaries, SANU and NASU tackle FG, declares 7-day strike. Commuters grown as one-chance robbers invade Lagos Ibadan Expressway. Okay, beneath the pictorial, President Tinubu renews hope for oil and gas sector with bold directives. And we have a chart that says a potential to generate up to 1 BCF per day, incremental and domestic gas supply, and creates 2.3 million jobs. Okay, fiscal incentive have the potential to attract up to $17.5 billion in new oil and gas investment. There's a directives aim to shorten Nigeria's oil and gas contracting cycle for 38 months to global standards of 6 months to speed up production of oil and gas. Okay, the last but not the least says directive seeks to reduce operating costs for oil and gas operating in Nigeria, which currently exceeds global standard by up to 40%. Okay, those are the stories that made the headline on the Punch newspaper today.
All right, that's how far we can stretch the newspaper review today on VOP this morning. Well, time for us to delve into the very first of our major topics this morning.
Which is the bandits demand 40 trillion naira ransom for the release of 16 kidnapped people in Kaduna State. Details and more when we return after this quick break.